Okay.
And if the current trend continues, by the time we reach the end of this, I'm sorry. We'll all be old people. A couple divorces, and the wife receives custody. It's funny, this thing worked before. Okay, all right, I can do this. I can do this. I've done this.
Stand by.
If you're one of the single parents watching today and you'd like some help, some resources, some ideas, or just someone to write to, Pam Money has agreed to correspond with you, and if you would write to Pam Money in connection with... You heard me. I'm not going to say it again.
Still rolling.
I was going to say Pam Money in connection with, no, in accord with, in opposition to. Care of, that's it.
Care of, Herald of Truth.
What a clever turn of phrase.
There are, I think we'll do that again. There are moments in the life of every child when he proudly feels, okay, I should have read what I was going to read. I know y'all are used to this, but I don't like to be less than perfect just because Ken is. Whew, we almost had a death on the set. I will never tell.
Stand by.
Saint-Exupéry has a delightful little story in his book, The Little Prince. It's set in the Sahara Desert. The narrator has landed his airplane because of a mechanical problem. And there he meets this ordinary little person. He doesn't either. It's an extraordinary little person. No. On the 25th.
Okay.
Ken?
Sir?
Anyway.
Yes, Pam, one of the letters that we had.
No.
Okay, when you pulled that away, I thought maybe you were telling me.
Stand by.
That would have been different, but... Pam, Royce, can we do that one more time? Pammy Faye. Pammy Faye and Royce, can we...
Ken?
Sir?
Anyway.
I'll probably be looking down for the start on this one, Angela.
Is that right? Is that right? Will he be looking down at the start?
No, I decided that. They didn't decide that. I decided.
That's what you said. You were asking.
No, I'm not asking. I'm telling Ted. But.
Keep these swallows at home.
Stand by.
It was one of those rare, delicious. I'm sorry. Nobody told me. One. Okay. Edith Schaefer has said that a family is a museum of memories. And some of a family's most treasured memories turn out to be of moments that seem trivial. 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 Trivial, Ray. Just adding to the blooper reel. Just. Edith Schaefer said that a family is a museum of memories. Some of a family's most treasured memories turn out to be of moments that seemed trivial. Wait a minute, I better rehearse that a little bit. Seemed trivial at the time. Seemed trivial at the time. Seemed trivial.
Can you straighten your coat up just a little bit? You need to keep your shoulders level.
All right, I'm getting slumpy. The list of great serendipitous discoveries includes Pasteur and the pasteurization process, Goodyear and vulcanized rubber. Rubber? Shouldn't that be rubber? I think it should.
Keep rolling.
Wait a minute, Bob.
Oh.
I've got to use that. Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I had it right where I wanted it, Bob.
We got that one on tape.
The nerve of that guy.
5.
Some of the greatest adventure tales of our century were written by an Oxford professor named
Do that one more time.
Jay Leno. And come to think of it, that's a pretty good description of the road your world. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed that up. In his book, The Lord of the Rings, the brave little hobbit, I'm sorry, that wasn't his book. Well, that would have been okay. So embarrassed. Ted's never going to let me walk and talk again.
Our need to forgive another person is only overshadowed by this thing is not rolling like it ought to at all.
In 1970, I graduated from David Lipscomb College in Nashville, Tennessee, and today the president of David Lipscomb University is none other than my good friend and the host of Herald of Truth, who's with me here today, Harold Hazlip. It's kind of nice to have a chance.
How did we ever graduate you?
Well, that's before you were president, so obviously the standard's a little plastic about us.
Oh, I don't.
I don't know why you graduated a guy that can't speak English for the life of me.
The tests come back from the doctor. We suddenly need help. We have so much, but our marriages fail. Our families are in. Good, Harold.
Okay.
The families are in chaos.
And when you write us, you'll always receive a quick, personal reply. But here on the program, we like to share some of these letters with you because I think they represent a struggle that many people have. Today, I have the first two letters from women who are struggling with problems in their marriages and the results of having been.
If it's addressed to you, is this what we're supposed to believe? Tentative truth. Has an I did that. Reality is whatever you make it. Absolutes don't exist. Is that what this? Oh boy. Find your own way, live your own life, and let others. I told you it's going to get closer and closer to the top. How many is that? How's the tape going?
4.
Harold, if you're out there, I'm glad you're here. It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions and to live self-controlled, right through the uprights. It's good. 52-yard field goal, and the Cowboys win. They're now 1-11. Dr. Forrest Tennant, one of the medical profession's leading experts in the war on drug abuse, once said about his research, "I spent about $500,000 of the public's tax dollars to learn what common sense could have told me. The people who get addicted to hard drugs. Dr. Forrest Tennant, one of the medical profession's leading experts in the war on drug abuse, once said about his research. I'll be back in a moment, and we'll talk some more about we as parents, what we as parents can do. Okay.
One of the things is that they get it out on the table so they can discuss it and deal realistically with it.
Get some help.
Yeah, not try to hide it.
Okay, so that's a strength. That's a positive thing they can do. Are there other positive steps that parents can make, or what are some pitfalls to avoid? I think that's just about covers it, and we'll be back next week.
I'm sorry.
You have to fog it.
I'm sorry.
How funny.
Get another Snicker.
She charges $75.
That's right. Well, you see, these long pauses when you're working for $75 an hour really do
They're
help.
really helpful.
This is normally where Pam would turn to me and say, I don't know, Ken, how do you
just
feel?
saw a 50-cent pause there.
Do something with this.
It's even true that living the Christian life may give us more discipline that I didn't do very well walking. I must admit there's some truth in all of this. I have no doubt that Christianity started to say promises, and I started to say provides. Why don't we do another one? When Jesus spoke, some of the people did precisely as he challenged them. Peter, Andrew, James, and John left their property, their family business, even their families behind. Matthew left his portable income. For the first time in recent years, we are, okay, let's do it again. We didn't roll. After a 15-year rise, the divorce rate has finally leveled off and may actually begun to drop. What's the secret to making them?
All right.
I'm getting as bad as Durham, if he's out there.
In their book, Raising Children for Success, Stephen Glenn and Jane Nelson discuss. Gotta do it again, don't we?
Start over from the
Doctors Glenn and Nelson suggest that parents set rules clearly and enforce them firmly. Now, all of these are going to sound like overgeneralizations, much too simplified to fit the real world, but I want you to hear them as kind of a checklist that we parents need to consider as we bring daily, as Alf would say, what we want to do on our program today is to suggest some broad guidelines for child rearing that can perhaps to meet the challenges of life success. The challenges of life. When it comes to something as difficult and as complicated as child rearing, we in no way want to oversimplify what's caught up in it. In this program, we in no way want to oversimplify the difficult, complicated challenge of child rearing. What we do want to do is look to some of the recent. So I wanted to do that before
I couldn't count
it even got dry on the slate. Doctors Glenn and Nelson suggest that parents set rules clearly in the home and enforce them. Gosh. I did that an hour ago when we went through this before, didn't I? Oh. But we've got a big problem here, and that is families have so little dialogue anymore. So little dialogue. And it's here that dialogue, the ability to engage in open, honest conversation. Gosh. Break. Come back tomorrow.
Already I'd messed up a word or two. I know Ken's here now. Every day brings letters, and we're always happy to receive them. Nothing is more encouraging than to know that you share our interest.
Sometimes those people we've called the publicans don't darken the church doorways because the churches have unwittingly sent out a message. And that message says, Christianity is just for good people who need a little Sorry. So here comes Jesus, and here comes the crowd around him. And several people may already have asked, Jesus, would you do me the honor of eating at my house tonight? Because you see, there was a considerable prestige factor connected in giving hospitality to a, don't laugh at me, Angela, she laughed at me. This woman laughed at my klutziness. We TV stars are so touchy. Okay, we're starting on 1, going to 2. Mm-hmm. So, here comes Jesus, and here comes the crowd around him. And several may have already asked him, Jesus, would you do me the honor of eating at my house tonight? Because, you see, there was considerable prestige connected with giving hospitality to a famous rabbi. But Jesus stops and looks up. And the whole crowd stops and looks up. And lo and behold, there's this treed Republican. Publican! It's George Bush, Mom. Look at that. Sorry. To make an end is to make a beginning. The end began so close. We were so close. Got to go back to the start. Well, we've come to the end of another glorious year at Herald of Truth. The Dallas mist is rising. Our furniture is just about ready to be picked up by the Salvation Army truck here in a few minutes. Except, of course, for the Ethan Allen stuff, which all goes to Janet and Ted Kidd's home. Another 3 years, and I believe Janet told me they'll have a whole house full, compliments of the sweet ladies that make this show possible. Randy Beckton's left town. He's flown to Charlotte to testify at the trial of his dear friend who's fighting for his life and reputation. And I know Jim and Tammy Faye are thinking that if anybody can pull this out of the fire, it'll be their friend Randy. But now it's quiet on the set for a change, and all we have are memories of a strange year. Strange year. I think back to some of the weird stuff that happened on the set this year. It was on this very couch that the beautiful 25-year marriage of Royce and Pam Money came to an abrupt end as they got into a ugly fist fight over the best ways to express love in marriage. And we feel a little bad about that, but maybe Royce and Pam can put back the pieces together. It was in this chair right here, that Harold Hazlett turned to America and said, he said, you know, in 25 years, 35 years, we've never asked for money for Herald of Truth. 35 years, we have never asked for your money. But he said, now things are different, and I'm president of a small bankrupt Christian university, and I'm asking you for help. He said, the Lord has let me know that, well, my time might be near if you don't come through. And so I'm asking you to write a check, Harold said, a big check, the biggest check you've ever written. Because as he told us this year on the air and surprised us all, he said, you know, we bought a medical school in Tulsa, beautiful medical school. We have an option on a prayer tower that we can have at a budget rate if you can just come through and help us make our dream come true. Well, that, of course, was Harold's last show on Herald of Truth, and I'm kind of excited because when we come back to you next year, it's going to be Kin of Truth, and it'll be all mine, all mine. And until then, it's been good to share these last few moments with you, and as we part, I want you to know that even though we won't be seeing one another in the year to come, I'll be with you in spirit.